Lie to Me, written and narrated by Peter J. Merrick. For more than 5 years, I have intended to write a book. Not hoped, not dreamed, intended. Its title has never changed, Lie to Me. I thought it would be one of the first books I wrote after COVID. Instead, I wrote 5 others. Every one of them was easier. Every one of them allowed me to avoid writing this one. At the time, I had perfectly reasonable explanations. I needed more research. I needed more life experience. And I needed more time to think. Another project seemed more important. Looking back, those explanations were not the truth. They were stories. Stories I never questioned because they sounded like my own voice. Then life quietly stepped in. For the past 4 days, I have been sick. Not hospital sick, not life-threatening sick, just sick enough that my body reminded me who was really in charge. Apparently, my immune system held a meeting without inviting me. The decision was unanimous. Peter, sit down and shut up. So I did. For 4 days, I had nowhere to go, nothing to accomplish, nothing left to distract me. No writing, no swimming, no pretending I was still 25. When your body strips away your routines, something unexpected happens. The noise disappears. The distractions disappear. Eventually, there is nowhere left to run. There is only one person left in the room. You, lying there, staring at the ceiling. I finally understood why I had never written this book. I was not avoiding the subject. I was avoiding myself. Because Lie to Me was never supposed to be a book about politicians or the media or corporations or advertising or the lies of the outside world. It was always supposed to be about the stories I quietly accepted because they were spoken in my own voice. That is a much harder book to write. For most of my life, I believed the greatest liars lived outside of me. Politicians and the media, advertisers and corporations, people chasing power, people chasing money, people selling certainty, people selling fear. I spent years studying persuasion because I wanted to understand how intelligent people could believe things that were so obviously disconnected from reality. Looking back, I was studying the wrong person. The greatest liar I ever encountered was not standing behind a podium. He was not on television. He was not writing newspaper headlines. He was standing in my bathroom every morning while I shaved. It was me. Now, before you think this old fart has completely lost his mind, hear me out. I never intended to lie to myself. That is the whole point. If I had fully understood I was lying to myself, I would have stopped. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Today I think I'll deceive myself." That is not how self-deception works. It is quieter than that. It slips into your life dressed as common sense, as patience, as responsibility, as hope, as fear, as loyalty. Sometimes it even dresses itself as wisdom. Eventually, it becomes so familiar that you stop questioning it. It simply becomes the voice in your head. The frightening part is not that we hear that voice. The frightening part is that we trust it simply because it is ours. That was the revelation. I had spent decades trying to understand why the world believed lies. I had never stopped long enough to ask a much harder question. What stories had I been believing simply because they were spoken in my own voice? That question changed my life. It also became the first honest sentence of this book. That realization changed the way I looked at my entire life. The world stopped being my courtroom. It became my mirror. For years, I thought life was happening to me. Looking back, I think life was introducing me to myself. Every person who entered my life became part of that introduction. Some taught me through generosity, others through selfishness, some through courage, others through fear, some through honesty, others through deception. Looking back, I no longer believe they entered my life so I could judge them. I think they entered my life so I could discover myself. Then another thought quietly arrived. One I still cannot shake. What if I needed the world to become more selfish so I could finally recognize my own selfishness? What if I needed the world to become more fearful so I could finally recognize my own fears? What if I needed the world to become more dishonest so I could finally recognize the places where I was still negotiating with truth? That thought humbled me. It is easy to criticize the world. It is much harder to realize the world may simply be reflecting something back to you. Perhaps that is why life rubs us up against other people, not to punish us, not to reward us, to reveal us. I have experienced deep emotional pain in my life. At the time, I wanted answers. I wanted certainty. I wanted justice. Looking back, I wanted life to explain itself. Instead, life explained me. Every disappointment stripped away another story I had mistaken for reality. Every failure humbled another illusion. Every success exposed another blind spot. Every relationship revealed another part of Peter that had been hiding in plain sight. Life was never trying to break me. Life was trying to wake me up. That may be one of the simplest truths I have ever learned. We do not discover ourselves sitting safely on the sidelines. We discover ourselves by participating, by loving, by failing, by risking, by trusting, by being disappointed, by getting back up, by rubbing up against the world. Pressure does not create character, it reveals it. Money does not create character, it reveals it. Success does not create character, it reveals it. Failure does not create character, it reveals it. Life keeps asking the same question in 1,000 different ways. Now that you have seen yourself, what are you going to do? Looking back, I have learned to carry fewer regrets. Not because I made all the right decisions. Far from it. I made the best decisions I could with the awareness I had at the time. Apparently, my awareness still had room to grow. The younger Peter was not foolish. He was simply unaware. One day, I suspect the 70-year-old Peter will probably smile at the man writing these words today and quietly think, "You still had more to learn." I hope he does. Because I have not arrived. I do not think I ever will. I am still discovering stories that deserve another look. I still find blind spots. I still catch myself defending ideas that reality quietly asked me to surrender. The difference today is simple. I argue less. I listen more. The older I get, the less fascinated I become with complexity. Life has been simplifying me. A sunrise, a cup of coffee, a walk before the city wakes up, a conversation where nobody is trying to win, good health, especially after spending 4 days being reminded how precious it is. Apparently, life's deepest truths have always been simple. I was simply too busy chasing complicated ones. Then another realization quietly settled over me. Perhaps the first lie I ever believed was not about success, or money, or politics, or relationships. Perhaps the first lie was much quieter. Perhaps I underestimated the significance of my own life, because if my life does not really matter, then today does not really matter. My choices do not really matter. My words do not really matter. Truth does not really matter. Tomorrow will do. Someone else will step forward. Someone else will make a difference. Looking back, I no longer believe that. My life matters. Your life matters. Not because we become famous, not because we become wealthy, not because the world applauds us. Our lives matter because they are the only lives we have been entrusted to live. No one else can become the person you are capable of becoming. No one else can become the person I'm capable of becoming. That responsibility belongs to each of us. The moment I truly accepted that, everything changed. Truth mattered. Integrity mattered. Time mattered. People mattered. Today mattered. Then something happened that I never expected. The less willing I became to accept my own stories without questioning them, the less willing I became to accept anyone else's. Not because I had become cynical, because I had become awake. Awakening did not begin when I discovered the world's lies. Awakening began the moment I became unwilling to continue believing my own. One of the greatest lessons life has taught me is that the truth it has revealed to me may not be the truth it is revealing to you. Your journey is not mine. Your mirrors are not mine, and your lessons are not mine. Life is introducing you to yourself just as patiently as it has been introducing me to me. I have no desire to convince you that my path should become yours. If this article leaves you with anything, I hope it leaves you with one question, not about politicians, not about the media, not about the world, about you. What story have you been believing simply because it has been spoken in your own voice for so long? Do not answer too quickly. Sit with it. Live with it. Let it make you uncomfortable, because on the other side of that discomfort may be the most honest version of yourself you have ever met. Looking back, I thought I was writing a book about lies. I was wrong. I am writing a book about freedom. The freedom that arrives the moment we stop negotiating with reality. The freedom that arrives the moment we stop asking ourselves to believe stories that no longer serve us. The freedom that arrives when we finally understand that our lives matter enough to tell ourselves the truth. At least, that is where life has led this old fart so far. Tomorrow I fully expect life to prove me wrong about something else, and strangely, I'm looking forward to it. Peter J. Merrick, A.K.A. Old Fart, still becoming, still learning, still laughing at himself, still rubbing up against the world, and finally wise enough to know that life was never trying to change me. It was patiently introducing me to myself.